The headline we are talking about, you might have seen this if you're a movie lover like we are. You probably see a lot of your friends, a lot of my friends have been making commentary on this. It's AMC Theaters is changing their movie ticket prices based on seat location. You want to talk about something that filled me with sadness and loathing? It was reading this piece, quite frankly. Um, so AMC is the largest. Here's an overview. AMC is the largest theater chain in the country, and they're rolling out something called Sightline at AMC. And what this is it's a pricing initiative, a ticket pricing initiative that's based on seat location. So it's kind of similar to concerts. It's kind of similar to
The actual
Broadway
theater.
musicals, actual theaters, like actual Broadway play theaters. So here's how it's going to work. Front row seats will be available at a lower price. Because generally, I don't know anybody who likes sitting in the front row. Sitting in the front row for a movie is better in theory than it is in practice. If you've ever had to sit front row for a theater, I don't know if you guys have where it's so packed you have to sit in the front
Yeah.
row. It is a goddamn awful experience.
That's the only reason anyone would ever do it, is because it's packed and it's opening night. You're with your friends and family already, and it's like, shit. All right.
And I'm not talking about the actual front row where you still have to climb a step. That's not great, but I'm talking the floor seats.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Floor seats. I saw the worst possible movie. My mom and I had to sit on the floor seats. I had a headache for the rest of the day. We had to see American Sniper on the floor seats.
Oh.
And it was any movie, a friggin' war movie is got to be the worst thing you could see with your face pressed against the screen.
You're just like Bradley Cooper because he's a sniper, so he's like just got like his head like this the whole time.
I had PTSD. I've never sat in the floor seat since. I've never sat in the floor seat since. But the front row seats will be available at a lower price, and commonly considered to be people's favorite spot in the theater. The middle of the theater, that like middle chunk, is going to be the higher price seats. I got to look at it. Shout out to the great users of Twitter. Since they're testing this Sightline at AMC in like New York, LA, and Chicago, the three biggest cities, people have posted screenshots of their apps to show you what it looks like. The front row seats are a $2 discount. The middle seats are a $2 upcharge. AMC stubs, A-listers are exempt. They're exempt from those charges. You can still get a middle seat if you are an AMC A-list stub subscriber. You do not have to pay the surcharge. Now, here's the thing with me. I speak for a very niche, finite number of moviegoers over here. I personally like the second or third to last row left aisle seat. That is generally where I sit. I always sit on the aisle. God forbid there's a fire. I got to piss. The movie's over. I hate walking over people. I hate walking over people, and I hate feeling trapped. I have a little bit of claustrophobia. So the aisle seat, I've always favored the aisle seat, and the aisle seats, generally people don't go for, but I like them. So this wouldn't affect me either way. But moreover, though, with this thing, this way to incentivize people to really stay home. That's what this is doing, incentivizing people to stay home. And I'll tell you what also incentivizes people to stay home, too. The fact that Megan came to streaming, rental video on PVOD, premium video on demand, 3 weeks after its release. Megan's been on PVOD on Vudu and Fandango now for, I want to say, 2.5 weeks, something like that. Plane, I believe, is coming in another 2 weeks. That just got released less than a month ago. House Party has been on streaming now. It came out, I want to say, the 12th or the 13th of January. That was on PVOD on the 31st. That's already incentivizing moviegoers enough to just sit home and wait, especially with the deluge of quote-unquote free entertainment or entertainment that's already been paid for via streaming subscriptions. This whole idea of value sightline pricing right now is just going to compound the average person's movie-going experience. The last thing I will say is that I had two friends, a coworker and her boyfriend, that went to the theater this weekend. They went and saw A Man Called Otto. Still haven't seen it yet. They said it was great. But between the two of them, They went, keep in mind they don't have stubs. So whenever people tell me how much movie tickets are, I'm just like, oh, I have stubs. I haven't thought about the price of a movie ticket in a long time. But all my AMCA listeners know what I'm talking about. We are in Nicole Kidman's eyes, we are the favored children. But she was telling me how between her and her boyfriend, after entry and after snacks, it was like 50, almost $60 or so, which I can believe. 2 movie tickets. I don't know how many popcorns they got, but assuming they got 2 sodas and a couple snacks, a theater trip for 2 could easily get to be 50, $60. Easily. For a family, you could push 100. I mean, it's gotten to the point in time, especially with inflation and just the general expensiveness of movie theaters, that a movie theater trip is probably at least as expensive as a minor league team, as a minor league hockey or baseball team at this point. Maybe even major league if you got a family of 5 or John and K+8 territory. But so the movie theater is not getting any less expensive. And I really fear, I think optically this is a disaster for AMC that already is still in recovery mode after the pandemic shut a lot of the theaters down. I think they're still in recovery mode, and I don't think this bodes well optically at all for this beleaguered company in the wake of the pandemic. We'll go Joe, then Dom, your thoughts on this AMC Sightline pricing over here.
Oh man, where to start with this? Last year we had this movie. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's called Top Gun Maverick, and it made a lot of money, like a shit ton of money. And then we had another movie come out last year called Avatar: The Way of Water, and it brought a lot of people to the theater, and it made a lot of money. And I kind of left 2022 going, holy crap, like we had a non-comic book property blockbuster film come in and bring this many people back to the screen. And then we had it again around the holiday season with Avatar. Despite what you may think of either of those films, if you're a fan or not, they did the job of getting people to come to the theater by not being something based on a comic book property, a video game adaptation, whatever. It was just its own thing. Like, you had to see maybe you had to go see the prior movie beforehand, maybe not, depending on who you are. So here I am going into 2023, and I see the lineup we have. We have we have the comic book stuff that's coming out. We're gonna be reviewing Ant-Man soon, but then we got stuff like Cocaine Bear that I see a lot of people talking about and getting really excited for. And I see all the other stuff we have coming out this summer: Mission Impossible. Hell, we have. Oh God, I just gloated about all this stuff, and then I had a bunch of movies lined up. But you know what I mean. We have a lot more stuff I think this year that I think could appeal to a wider audience and just get butts in seats.
Barbie, Oppenheimer.
Thank you. Barbie was actually one of them. Yeah, Oppenheimer is definitely another. Sorry, I know the excitement.
Putting those 2 movies next to each other.
I know,
just the excitement. I mean, how
and I want to see both equally as bad. I'm not joking.
Oh my God. We have those movies. We even have a big comeback for something like Indiana Jones. That's like a big staple to just movie going in general. So I'm coming into this year like this is going to be great. Last year was teed up perfectly for movie going experiences and whatnot, that this year's going to be awesome. And then AMC drops this. Now, let's be real. AMC ain't the only theater in America, okay? It's the largest chain, like Steve said, but it's not the only one. This still sucks, because if this works and AMC just sees a profit in any sort of way, small chainer theaters like Marcus, Cinemark, not Charlestown, that's the place where I live by. Cinema 18 is what I meant to say. Places like that, classic cinemas, that's what I meant to say. We'll see this and go, hey, let's try to adapt that and everything. Now, granted, they haven't tried to adapt A-List for some reason. I don't know why, because A-List I think is a great program. But I look at this and I go, damn, is this just an incentive to push for people to get A-List more? Is this what is the point of this? Okay, yeah, I get to sit in the center now for 2 hours and watch Paul Rudd fight Jonathan Majors in IMAX. I already had to pay a shit ton of money to go see this in IMAX. Now I have to pay an extra $2. Come on, what is the point? I'm not like, I look at this and I don't know if you guys have seen this movie, and this is me pulling out my film class buff knowledge nerdy ass right here. There's an Italian film called Cinema Paradiso. It takes place in Italy. And in Italy, when you went to the cinema, the poor people sat on the bottom and the rich people sat up top. And in this movie, there's a couple sight gags where the rich people are spitting on the people down below because they're talking throughout the movie. They're laughing. They're enjoying themselves and all this stuff while watching this movie and whatnot. And they're just spitting on the people below and what, because, you know, they're watching, like, a joke happens in the movie and they're sitting like this. It's very, I mean, it's very cartoony and everything, but, like, you know, it's fucking old Italian film and whatnot. Is that what you're trying to bring back? Like, what the hell is this? The last thing I'll say is this, because I didn't get to talk about this the other week when Dom wasn't here, because this was the week I actually got to test it. For those of you who don't know, I resubscribed to MoviePass just to give it a test, and I tried it out. The app sucks, but in terms of, like, what you pay for and what you get, it's actually pretty good. And now I look at this as, well, damn, I mean, like, I always love bringing this app up because of how much, you know, movies it got me to go see in 2018. But what the hell is going to happen to this app that's like, we're finally coming back, we have it down to a T, this is it. Ah, shit, the largest chain in America now has price seating, like, wherever you're sitting at. It's like, that's going to change things for their whole tier subscription service, which is based on, like, they have a whole credit system, and, like, the amount of credits you use to purchase the tickets depends on what time you go see the movie, if you go see a matinee, if you go see a prime time, and then of course if you're going to see something that just got recently released. So yeah, there's just a lot to this that's just questionable. The AMC to be pulling this and being like, hey, people are coming back to the theater, let's just fucking throw them for a whole loop. The one thing this article brings up, and I'll throw it over to Dom because I know we're bleeding into OT and we're probably gonna stay on this probably until the next like 10-15 minutes. It brings up how 80 for Brady, with the permission of Paramount, was released with just matinee prices at every screening. And to me, that is a way better solution if you want to get people to come see movies like 80 for Brady than changing the price of seating. Like, hey, 80-year-old people, you could come see 80 for Brady for $2 less, but we're going to break your neck and fuck up your back while you watch this movie because you'll be staring at the screen like this. So yeah, that's my 2 cents, is that if you want to try to bring people back by adjusting pricing, do it for movies like 80 for Brady, where it's like, dude, yeah, it's attracting an older demographic, a senior citizen demographic. They're only going to come to the matinee showtimes, so you might as well make everything the matinee showtime price.
During the Industrial Revolution, factory owners would often ride in carriages, usually long carriages, on their way to the factory that they owned. The streets of London during that time, 19th century, very dirty, gross, disgusting. People were throwing their shit literally onto the streets below. The workers had to walk those streets in the gutter. Meanwhile, the factory owners, they were just in their carriages and they were going through, and then they were let through the pearly gates while the security let them through. And then, ultimately it built up to the point where a lot of workers got freaking mad, and the poor, they just wanted to go ham on these rich sons of bitches. This is a extremely small microcosm of that. I'm obviously being hyperbolic, but yeah, dude, this is like, what the hell is this? Joe, you actually stole a bit of my thunder there about that Italian theater kind of metaphor. And it's like, yeah, 100%. That's what this feels like. And it's one of those things where it's like, God damn it. It's that feeling of what, like, libraries are free. Think about that. Libraries are free. In a world where they never existed, but you tried to introduce it here in 2023, it's like, why would we make libraries free? That's so dumb. Right? It's like, that's money just waiting to happen. And it's like, no, libraries are free. We live in a world where that is the standard. That's kind of what this is, what this feels like. It's like, yeah, ticket prices are the same, unless, of course, if you're a kid or you're a senior, or maybe it's a Black Panther on a Saturday night opening weekend.
Student
sure.
discounts.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas 80 for Brady on a Tuesday afternoon, it's like, yeah, sure, whatever. But goddamn, really, we're doing the same movie. We're all the same age. but like saying, you know, adult ages, but now it's like down there, and it's not even that big of a discount. Like for where those seats are, the first what, 2, 3, 4 rows, you should be getting like a $7 discount. It's horrible. It's so dumb. Or whatever. Or maybe do something with the concessions, which they won't do because that's apparently where they make the most money. I don't know. And it's like, of course, that's not going to happen because that's going to bleed into what they really want here, which is just kind of finagle into more profits. Joe, as you said, as people are coming back into the theater, as people are kind of getting back into it, they were a little, I'm surprised they waited this long to do it. I would have done it in 2021 if I were, you know, if I were trying to make the most out of this, as people are trying to break into that normal there. But here we are, and it's, yeah, I'm pretty much reflecting what you guys said. If AMC manages to get this cemented into how people watch movies, it is either going to influence every other theater to have to do it. It's like, damn it, we got to do that now, because that's just how the only way we can make money, particularly the little guys, the little theaters.